Alright, so this Knife Thoughts video is going to be a little different than my normal videos. I'm normally behind the camera rather than in front. I think this might be the first time I'm actually in a video here, but there's a good reason. I'm doing a review or a video on this, what is not really a knife, but more of a sword here. My friend loaned this to me to do a video on, and it's something that he got as a birthday gift, and it's super cool, so I was excited to do a video on it. It's just a little too big to show in my normal setup. But as you can see, it is a sword, and it has a really nice sheath, or what you might call a scabbard, but they actually didn't come together. So I'll show you the scabbard second here, but take a look at the sword, and I'll put this on my shoulder here. But it is definitely not a knife. It is more of a sword, and what I would probably call a short sword, although it's moving into full-sized sword category length here. It has a pattern welded or Damascus blade, and it is, you know, real Damascus or pattern welded steel. It's not just an etch. It has this really cool kind of eye or swirl design to it that you can see the whole way along the blade. And the blade is really like well sharpened, which is not always the case with these you know, large knives or swords. So that's a nice thing to see. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but it is surprisingly sharp. And then the guard is also Damascus or pattern welded steel, although I'm not sure that it's the same pattern. The handle actually seems to be micarta. So it's like a black, what I would say is canvas micarta. It looks pretty nice and well, you know, shaped. Has a swell here at the top, which is good. You can get your index and thumb around here, and then, you know, get a grip on the other end of the swell with your ring, or I'm sorry, middle ring and pinky finger. And then it has a little spacer there. I'm not exactly sure what that material is, but then the pommel is also pattern welded steel. And the cool thing here is that it does seem to be put together in a somewhat traditional way, which again is not always the case. It seems to have a tang that goes through this handle, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think that this is one piece that they either drilled or burned a hole through and then attached that tang into this pommel. So pretty cool that it's, you know, made with that type of tang. And then to show the shape of the blade, it has kind of a leaf-shaped blade, and really reminds me of maybe an even elongated version of the way that Sting, the sword or knife of Frodo and Bilbo, were interpreted in the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings series, which I'm a big fan of, both the books and that interpretation, those movies. So I think it's a really cool shape, very, I guess, it's not super fantasy. It looks like something that you could, you know, imagine being on an actual battlefield or carried by someone who is actually going to use it. So I think that's cool also. Not that I dislike super crazy, you know, fantasy type swords. Not super into them, but I think that it is nice to see it made with a little bit more realistic design. And it's nice. It's hefty. It feels like if you swung it around, it could do some serious damage, that's for sure. It's very, very pointy, almost a little more, that's one thing where almost a little more pointy than I think it may be if it was a historical short sword. They do sometimes, or did sometimes, come to really acute points, but I think maybe a little bit less acute generally than this, just because with this much length behind that point, it would be a little bit easier to break off, but obviously would really really penetrate into things if it needed to. So really cool design, and seems really well made. And I'm not sure, I don't think that they knew exactly who the maker was, but it was from, I think, the UK. And then the, again, sheath or scabbard was actually separate. So the my friend's fiance got this separately, and it actually fits really well. It's not exactly designed for this sword, but it works really well. It's pretty thick leather and has a snap at the top, and then as you've been seeing me using, it has a leather kind of shoulder strap that you can change the length of a little bit with the buckle, and some kind of aesthetic additions here with these chevrons on the top and the bottom. And it fits well, it fits really snugly. So, you know, you don't have to worry about it shaking loose or anything like that, but you can get it out pretty easily also. So super cool. I really appreciate my friend allowing me to do a video on it and to check it out. I really don't have any swords. I do have some bayonets that people have given me as gifts, which I really appreciate. Some historical, like old bayonets, which are really cool. And I do have a machete that maybe is into sword category, but I don't have any actual swords like this, so it's always really cool to see, because I am into, you know, Lord of the Rings and, you know, generally stuff like that, and like knives, so it's a cool thing to see. So I don't know the maker of either the scabbard or the sword, but they're really cool and I've really enjoyed checking them out, and I hope you did too. So as always, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. I've got lots more videos and more coming, and hit the bell so you get notified when I post new videos, and also check out my Instagram at Knife Thoughts and my website knifethoughts.com. And last but not least, don't forget to go out and do good.